Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network episode 43. This is our weekly music production marketing podcast, but today we'll be having a little bit more of a laid-back talk, discussing things, lessons we've learned from 2022, looking at some of our favorite albums, gear, things like that. We are live if you're in the chat. Hello, how are you doing? Did you get any cool gifts from Santa this year? Let us know. And if you'd like, hit that like button. It helps a ton. My name is Sunwarper, and with me today is Eon Lake. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I might not sound it, though.
Oh, no. Sick?
I'm a bit Barry White today, but I'm actually okay.
I was going to say those dulcet tones are sounding very nice. So what's up? How have you been? How was your winter break?
Well, it's been a break. It's been a bit of an extreme one, though. It's been like really busy to sort of do nothing for days on end. Which is, it's good, but it's a little disorientating as well.
Yeah, I get that. But did you get a little relaxing time in? Maybe some time with the MPC?
Yeah, I spent a bit of time with it. We were talking offline earlier. I've just been taking little bits of kit out of the studio on a little trip to the living room so that I can just noodle around without it being, you're doing something in the studio sort of time, you know. And I might be, I'm still, and one of the next things I'm going to be doing is live set building. And it's going to be a question of how few bits of kit can you use to get whole songs done. And so I've got things that I think will definitely work, like the black box and the SP404. Maybe this fella down here, the MPC Live, will fit in with that. Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like it's got a lot of justification to do because it's a big box. It's a lot of desk space. You're going to have to show me. That's true.
Something. Have you had any issues with the firmware? I keep hearing about some bricks and bricking and things like that. Updates.
I've only upgraded it once, and
there you go.
No problem.
Yeah, maybe keep it that way. Yeah.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, I've just heard some horror stories, but I don't have one, so yeah, just curious about your own take. But also with us today is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you?
Hey, sorry, I'm just replying to David in the chat. I'm I'm good. I am very.
I just had to get you on the spot.
Quick, while he's busy.
Yeah, exactly.
While I pick up my phone and talk to the people in the chat. Hello,
to be fair, I'm watching the Streamlabs, so I'm watching a delay, so I didn't even know you had your phone. As I started talking, I saw you grab it, and I was like, oh no, this is great timing. But yeah, we've got quite a lively chat. We've got Shady Ridge in there. He just got a Big Muff Pie. Nice. Is that one that you can plug into the computer, Shady, or is that just the pedal? I remember a couple of months back we talked about a new one they were doing. I'm not sure if it's out yet though. And then David's in the chat. Hey David, how are you? He's got some new Eurorack stuff he's working with. What was it? I think it was Marbles and Magneto. I think you've talked about Marbles before, Eon Lake, but I haven't heard of Magneto. But yeah, sounds cool. Yeah. Anyways, Curtis, how are you?
Yeah, good man. It's been a relaxing one. I went back home. I went back to the UK for the first time since like 2016, and saw some old family and spent a lot of time in Ableton, ignoring the family.
Got a picture of laptop live. All you need to not have anything to do with people in the room.
Exactly, it's great. I've been building similar to Eon Lake. I've been building live sets or live templates to play live, build hybrid sets. I need, spoiler alert, I'm going to need to buy some more gear.
No, big shock.
I'm looking at a few controllers to create or be able to control faders and the mixer in Ableton on the fly. But yeah, that's I'm still in the research phase of that, shall we say. But it's been good. Aside from that, lots of sampling. Cutting up the old Hertfordshire countryside. It's been great.
Nice.
Yeah, feel good, man. What about yourself? What have you been doing?
I
haven't seen you.
I know it's been a minute. We took some time off. We said we got to get a break from each other, so we took some time.
Yeah, it's just too much.
And yet we were still on WhatsApp chatting all the time. Yeah, good
Merry
Lord.
Christmas. What are you up to? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I've been doing a lot of the same as I've been doing. I mean, I took a break for a while. I took a break from all social media for a bit, which was really nice. Been tinkering with the SP. Gonna start building, as I talked about, like that sample library in the SP. I've been getting some new iOS apps that I want to sample in there. Yeah, and then I was telling Eon, like, previously, like, when I've been watching TV and stuff, I've just been hopping on Koala and making drum beats. You know, because it's got those stock drums. And then what I'm doing from there is I export them into the SP and then build songs with that. I also used like one of their stock sounds, made a piano melody, put it in there, and then created a bass line from it. And just like kind of weaving the two ecosystems together, the Koala and the SP, into this. It's really fun. And then I've still been working on some of that commission work. So I've been in the DAW quite a lot lately. So that's been an interesting change up.
So you got a bit of like a healthy balance of everything.
Yeah, well, my CPU keeps like exploding from this commission work because I have just tons and tons of tracks. Probably getting closer past you. I have like 100 in one of them, and 15 of them are just drum layers.
Well, they do say that the more stems you have, the better producer you are.
I'm not sure about that, but the reason I have it is because I have to use a lot of strings, and so some of the strings are the longer notes and some are the shorter, so that adds up. And then I'm doubling, like if I do a violin, I'm doing some sort of flute or something and things like that, so it adds up a bit. But I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I just wish my CPU could hang a little better, but it is what it is.
We'll get there. Well, it sounds exciting. You're nearly done with it, no? Last time we spoke, you were
getting there. Yeah, I got the first one's done. The second one is nearing done, and then the third one is just begun.
There we go. It rhymes, therefore it's true.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. There you go. If you fancy yourself for a rhyme, we could always get on board with that. This show is brought to us by our patrons. Thank you ever so much. There's a few of our patrons in the chat today, and we love it. So thank you so much for your continued support throughout nearly a whole year of being a patron. If you like what we do and if you like what we're up to and you want to help us out, for as little as $2 over on our Patreon site, you can help us and make a pledge, and you get early access to all our stuff, as well as other behind the scenes. You get a Patreon chat on Twitter where we're always chatting and sharing ideas. It's really good fun, little community there. And our growing Discord as well, where we do hangouts in a patron only chat.
Yeah, we have a patron-only hangout, too. I think it's once a month at the moment, but we might be upping it as we go. We had a lot of fun with the last one. So patrons, if you're not on Discord yet, hop on over. And we also do, after our weekly scheduling meetings, Curtis and I, on Mondays, we do a quick little hangout in the public voice chat. So if anybody wants to hop on the Discord and talk, last time, what did we talk about? Something very existential, but it doesn't always have to get that heady. Wasn't it like AI...
We were talking about Midjourney, about AI.
And AI, the morality of AI or something, but it doesn't always have to get that heavy. We talk gear too, don't worry.
Exactly.
But yeah.
There's always room for gear. Our next Star Stream patron meetup, by the way, for our patrons, and if you wanted to be a patron, is on January the 8th, Sunday, January the 8th at 8 p.m. CET, so 7 p.m. UTC, which is 11 Pacific?
Look at you, Mr. Worldwide over here. Yeah, 11 a.m. Pacific, unless there's one of those weird time changes, but I think that'll be in a while because we just had one. So. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I should also add that the links to both the Patreon and the Discord are in the description if you want to check it out.
Very much so. So what are we chatting about today, gentlemen? We are having an informal show. We haven't really got much planned in terms of news or anything like that. We're not doing any gear reviews. But Sunwarper, what are we talking about?
We're taking a look back at this crazy year of 2022. At least it was for me. It kind of sounds like it was for both of you, and the chat can let us know how they feel about it. And then we'll talk. I think we mentioned it in the last live episode 41 that we talk our favorite album from the year. So I want to throw that in, and chat, if you have a favorite album, when we get there, let us know. We'd love to talk and see if anybody has similar. I think mine's going to be quite different from everybody else's. So.
Yeah, we'll see. It's interesting you said 41 there, and then I realized that 42 was our clip show, was our best of.
Yeah.
And I forgot that even I made that. But, yeah. So if you if you want to see our best of the year, go back in our archives. A couple week or so ago, we got all our best clips from since we started. This is episode 43. So this is week 43. There's 41 weeks of all our stuff that people have vibed with. So it's a good shout.
Yeah, we're getting close to a full year of ADSN.
Yeah, we're not long. We've 9. What is it? 52. So yeah, 9 more episodes. So,
yeah, we're getting there.
We should do a countdown, shouldn't we?
I think we talked about that, and then we both forgot. We're so professional, right? Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, but yeah, we've got some stuff. We do have some stuff planned for the year celebration.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But for now, lessons from 2022. We'll go through, and we'd always like to know what you guys in the chat are saying. Because, well, it's always fun to hear what everyone else is saying in this world. 2022 has been a funny year, to quote Sunwarper.
Crazy was my
crazy year. Sorry, misquoting already.
Yeah, there you go.
No wonder we have.
That's how bad 2022 has been. You can't even listen anymore.
Exactly. I need to get my ears cleaned out. But yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy year, bit of a ups and downs and all that goes. But what remains true is our music production and what we've been doing. So yeah, how's your 2022 been, Sunwarper?
Well, it was crazy. Very chaotic. Lots of changes, things like that. As I mentioned to you, and as I'm sure you in the chat are aware, I've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, which has kind of really changed my approach to anything music related and even computer related. Because one of my wrists was really messed up, where I couldn't play guitar, anything like that. So I had to switch. I was like forced to switch to some of the sampling type stuff, because I could play guitar for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, so I could record something and then I could chop it and do things like that. And I think the biggest takeaway from 2022 for me was just working around limitations in any way. Like when you're using DAW-less hardware, there's a lot of limitations, but that also brings out creativity. And it's the same way. Like I couldn't play guitar, couldn't play piano, so I started sampling like public domain sounds, or going through archival videos and just doing crazy things, or like taking sounds you made from our collab stuff and chopping it up and just working in a way I never would. And I did enjoy how it opened up my mind to new ways of creating.
So overall, it's been a positive experience, you might say.
I mean, I think it's good to try to think of everything that happens in some positive form. So yeah, I mean, would I like to have not been injured and be able to play guitar in the same way I used to? Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's getting better and we're getting there. But you got to work with what you're given. So
yeah, completely and utterly. So I mean, is it something you're going to continue with as you go into the new year, or are you gonna, now that your wrist is getting better, are we seeing a hybrid system come through?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what I was saying, where like what I've been up to the last couple of weeks. It's doing the DAW stuff, doing the sampling stuff, and then doing the stuff in the DAW and things like that. So it's kind of working on both. I'm thinking of kind of merging them together for my next project, because I'm going to do something that's like monthly. And I think when the song comes out, I'm going to do like a DAW-less version of it, and then a breakdown over on my YouTube of like how I made the actual DAW track and incorporated it into the setup and stuff. So yeah, bit of a hybrid thing.
Yeah. Hybridity is the way forward.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be the audionautic methodology for 2023.
We do need a new motto.
We do. We have "Make It Sound Good, Dude," which is been since
that's lasted us a while, but we gotta make something new each year. Resolution, right?
Yeah. If you guys in the chat have got any ideas on what you want our motto to be, let us know, because we have no idea.
We'll get there. But what about you, Curtis? What have you taken away from 2022?
I think this year has been a lot of re-finding the faith I have in myself as a producer. During the day job, I was working in a studio in a very well treated and a high level studio for most of the year, and then that's where I kind of did the majority of the mixing for Marooned, and then I lost the job around about September, October time, and suddenly I was back here, which is a very untreated, very old, echoey room. And I was going through and in the last final stages of mixing Marooned itself, and the I was getting really amped up. I was convinced for a long time that I was going to do all my mixing in the studio in where it worked, and because it was the only place, it must be good because it's treated, it's got high quality speakers, it must be amazing, that kind of thing. So I'm only going to do it there. Then I lost access to that studio, and so I had to finish the tail end of it here at this desk. And I was convinced for a long time that it was the studio that was making it sound good. And then I got back the mixes, because you've just finished the masters for those mixes, and I know which ones I mixed in the studio and I know which ones I mixed here. And the ones that I sent back to you, or that you sent back to me saying you need to tweak this, we need to tweak that, those happen to be the ones that I mixed in the studio itself for the majority. And the idea of trusting my own ear came to the forefront with that one. The idea of, it doesn't matter as long as I know the room and I know where it's kind of coming through. I can trust my ear. I know what I'm doing. I know my deficiencies. I know where I lack. But as long as I can counteract those, i.e. bass notes, it doesn't matter where I'm at. That kind of thing. So there's been a bit of a journey in that, which has been quite nice, as you say, because then I go into fresh projects into the new year, kind of with a renewed sense of confidence for the idea that I have. I don't need a high quality studio. I don't need the best speakers. I don't need a fantastically treated room in order to get things done. All I need to do is have a good ear and have the confidence in myself to get these things done.
I know Skrillex made that first, Scary Monsters, Nice Sprites, or whatever the song's called. I can't remember, but he made that on like broken headphones.
Headphones now.
That's what I had read, yeah. In the chat, David says, wow, that's a curveball, Curtis. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. And Bendu's in the chat. He says, happy holidays, folks. Yeah, how are you, Bendu? How was your holiday?
Yeah, the latest mixtape from Bendu is up on his Mixcloud now. Lovely mix, Ben. Thank you very much. Had it in the departure lounge at Heathrow.
Nice.
Heathrow the other day. It was lovely. It's a really nice mixtape.
He's got a new EP out that's really good too.
Oh, I missed this. Is this where a Fox?
It is. Yeah. It was a cassette release. It's got a lovely artwork as well. I forget who did it.
Oh, okay. There you go. We'll go to Where a Fox, where we can find that. I'll find that in the group.
So Curtis, how do you feel now with the album done and looking back on it all? How do you feel as you work on your next project?
Well, the next project is yet to kind of really get going in its totality. I said I'd give myself to the end of the year to get it all finished off, and just kind of take a bit of a break and work on building this live set, which I want to do. I want to start doing more I want to do more live stuff next year. The next iteration of Curtis, it's gonna be a lot more acoustic based, but I'm gonna trust my ear, like I say, and I'm not gonna focus so much on things being polished. You'll notice from Marooned, a lot of it's quite gritty and it's quite gnarly, and I like it that way. In some spaces, it doesn't sound particularly beautiful. It does sound like it was made on a distant tomb world somewhere out in the universe, which is kind of where it was made, to be honest. And that's kind of where I want to go for, and I'm okay with that. And it's again accepting that kind of way forward. So I'm going to run with that, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say, I want to ask, you said acoustic bass for that next album. Are you doing more acoustic stuff or VSTs of acoustic things?
Well, I've got my Washburn acoustic sitting there behind the camera. So I will be using a lot of that. I'll be using a lot of traditional instruments, which will be VSTs from Native Instruments, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna invest in a few like pipes and stuff like that, and kind of like traditional instruments that you can get.
Get that little kalimba. Those things are awesome.
I think I'll get a little kalimba. Yeah.
I can give you some samples if you want. That's even better than a kalimba. Real quick in the chat, David says, someone may have joined the Patreon to show appreciation for all of your efforts. Well, thank you, David. We appreciate it. And Hydro Fighter is in the chat. He says, hey, guys. Hydro Fighter, how are you? How was your holiday?
Yeah, very much so. Hey, Steve. Hopefully, rumor has it Hydro Fighter is joining us in a bit.
Yeah, that's what the rumor is. Everybody that's recently in the chat, let us know. what's your takeaway musically, production, even just life-wise from 2022? Have you learned anything? Has anything changed? How do you feel looking back on it? Are you going to do things differently in the new year? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And we got to hear from Eon Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your takeaway besides buying too much gear? Or not enough? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, it's, it's funny you mentioned that. I definitely want to slow down on things like that. I said it before because I think you get more out of stuff that you know inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I want my studio to be, I don't know, you guys do as well, to be like an extension of me, something I feel really at home with, so that you can have an idea and you can realize that idea really quickly because you know your kit.
Yep.
And I'm not looking to introduce anything particularly new.
Except maybe that Pro 800.
Except for maybe in the modular case, but I mean, then it's less impact there. But I still want to master what I have here already more, to be honest.
That's one of the things I want to do as well. Just when you speak of it, I had it as, I got to mention that because like that's why I've been working with just the SP so much. It's like I just want to do everything I can with that and learn as much as I can from it, just to because it's like something small, or even Koala. Like you can do a lot with Koala. But yeah,
well, I think it goes double when you start talking about playing live, and I know that's another thing that's on all of our minds. And if you're fumbling around in the dark, all right, there are bright lights and whatnot, but if you're playing live, you don't really want to have strange gear in front of you. You want to be very, very comfortable with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, this impression that the next wonderful bit of kit is going to change your life is a fallacy. We know that. It's just going to confuse you for a bit, and maybe you'll get a novelty song out of it while you're messing around. But really, your time is better spent on actual music and the gear that you have. Use the kit that you do have and the ideas that you do have. And I suppose one of the takeaways for me this year was this has been a very, very busy year, quite a frantic one. Some stuff I'm very proud of having done this year. But I suppose one of the takeaways is that your challenges and your demons often remain the same. You maybe develop more tools and strategies to deal with them, but they don't necessarily go away. And there's always the head game. The head game is here for life. Even no matter what happens in your musical career, it's always going to be there, and how you cope with it and so on is probably more important than anything else. So I think we're reasonably evolved in that respect. We know how we can trip ourselves up. We know how the psychology can be a problem, and we've got ways of dealing with it. And I think as long as you can do that and you can continue to show up regularly, do the thing, express yourself, remember why you're doing this, and stay connected with that. That's probably the most important thing that's going to enable you to stay on your journey and do all the other things, develop, try new ideas, find a new way of, expressing yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
It's
profound.
like a long answer, really, doesn't it?
No, it's so true. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's a good thing to remember that. I mean, every move we make and every new metric we reach, it's always like the next one is going to be what bothers you, like you were saying, just like your demons and things like that. And everybody goes through imposter syndrome at all the time, probably. You work on it, but it's always there, and you kind of have to almost treat it as like a friend to a degree, but then be like, yeah, I know you're there and I know it's there, but I am going to do it anyways. And it's always good to remember that everybody goes through it, and we all have our struggles.
Do something that inspires you. That's the thing. Yeah, do something you like. Do something that inspires you. Never try and write music to please people.
Yeah, do what you love.
Unless, of course, you're on commission, in which case...
it's a bit of a different story.
I think that, there's a couple of things, like you say, show up. Consistently show up and just be consistent with what you're doing. Consistency is everything in that sense. But then the idea of, again, write music for you. That really strikes, because it's the idea that we've all finished albums at some point over this year. We've all kind of ummed and ahed over them and felt that they could be tweaked here or tweaked there at the end of the day. But then, you know, if it makes you happy and it makes you what you want to do, makes you feel like the way you want it to feel, that's the only thing that matters, really. Screw statistics, screw sales or anything like that. If it speaks to you, that's the only thing that really matters in this whole thing.
It's got to start there. It has to. How are you going to get someone else to like something you don't even like it yourself?
Yeah, quite true.
Yeah. There's no way. I mean, David in the chat says imposter syndrome is really challenging. Somehow you have to embrace the process and expression. I should write that on the wall. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Write that on the wall. Yeah.
It might help. Yeah. That might be the way. It's always good to just remember we're all going through it, and like if it's what you love and you love the sound of it, then you just have to go through it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got into the practice over the last year of writing mantras. I've got a blackboard on my wall in my hall out there, and I write mantras on it on a weekly basis. And I just write whatever is tickling me, whatever I'm working on, be it in my life or be it in therapy or whatever. I have this mantra on the wall and I read it when I put my boots on before I go out and work every day, you know, and it's there. Right, and you say I should write that on the wall, David. Write it on the wall. It really it does help. Yeah, you sit these things through, and suddenly you start believing it, and you know it's a way forward. Imposter syndrome is a process, because without imposter syndrome, you won't have the belief in yourself. You have to go through one to get to the other. But it is just a process, and it's just a feeling that you work through. You know.
I also find, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm having imposter syndrome about a song or something like that, I usually think that's like a good sign, because that means I'm doing something different and going out of my comfort zone to trigger that response within me.
For me, I find it funny that when they come round again and you start having these thoughts, oh, right, we're there, are we? We're at that stage.
Nearly there.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. The closer you are to being finished, it seems, the more these worries. Is that right? Is that any good? Should I chop that bit out? Oh, what about those drums? It's just you're questioning it because it's almost done, you know, and it's a good sign. And just follow the process. You've done it a million times before. Don't listen. You know what's going on.
Yeah. It also helps.
It's funny.
It also helps, though, to have some helping ears, you know, like sending it to some friends or a community or something like that, you know, just to, because as we work on something, we get lost in the subjectivity of it all, because we're just always inundated with the sound of that song. So we lose like, oh yeah, this and that are loud or too loud, because we're just getting used to it. Our ears are getting tired of it. And even just our brain from tweaking endlessly. So having a new set of ears, like I always send you guys stuff and you guys send to me and vice versa, all that. It definitely helps to just kind of shut that part down a little bit. Like, hey, people I trust and respect say this or that, like, you know, make your decisions off of that too.
Yeah, completely. This is why I love handing my mixes over to you, Sunwarper, for mastering. Because
how many times this time did I even say lower the bass? It was like never.
yeah, totally. So this is it. I mean, if you guys didn't know, Sunwarper does mastering. He does a bloody good job of it. And the idea that I finish these tracks and send it over, it's just another set of ears that you trust and you learn from. We've worked together for nearly 3.5 years now, and the idea is that it's mental, isn't it? And the idea that you've got someone that you can trust to sit there who knows your sound nearly as good as you know yourselves, your own. And you can kind of get them what's the best for you. It's the best thing. Now, obviously, there's that balance of sending it to 30 people, and then suddenly it's a horse design. A camel is a horse designed by committee. But
yeah,
you know,
well, you don't have to
balance
take what they say. Like, I'm not saying go to 30 people. I mean, just like when I send you, I usually, if not always, do listen to what you say. But it's just getting that other set of ears, and even if you disagree with like the technical aspects they say because you're going for something different, you now know there's an objective set of ears that didn't hear that hi-hat that was too loud by 0.13 decibels or something. You know, they were like, no, the hi-hat's too quiet. Yeah. And you're like, oh, crap.
It's also an opinion that you can put in context, because you know that person, you know what they like. You know, when they give you feedback, it's there's a frame of reference, you know, as opposed to just sticking it out there and someone saying something about it. It's the feedback without context is useless. You know, it is literally
There's
useless.
Another one for the whiteboard.
There you go. That could be the motto for 2023. Feedback without context is useless. I love that.
If you know that person, you know where they're coming from, and they tell you something, you can frame it and that's something you can actually, conceptualize. You can do something with that. You know?
Over in the chat, Bendu says he's daunted by upcoming live shows. Ooh, that's exciting. You got some live shows. Are they in LA or Southern California, Bendu? Let me know. Decided against
them,
hold on one sec. I
want to hear him.
Yeah, I hope he's recording them. He says, decided against buying learning Octatrack. Yeah, that would probably take a year or two. And we'll go with Ableton and a laptop for the first time. Also approved of vinyl test pressing for the first time recently. Dude, that's all super exciting stuff. That's very cool. I'm curious, the Ableton and laptop, are you going to bring like a modular rig with it or something like that? Or just stem performance, something like that? Let me know. Or let us know, I should say.
I want to know.
Yeah, that's why I changed it to let us know. I figured we're all.
Always does a lot of the modular stuff, and he's got the little the Moog stuff. Is he just going to sequence it? Is he going to be doing? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
I want to know. I want to know everything.
I'd love to go to them, but I doubt I'm going to be able to fly out.
Yeah.
Well, we can. I tell you what, Sunwarper, you're in the area. It is your task now to take a camera and a microphone and go and record Bendu do his thing, so that we can all see what's going on.
We shall see. We shall see. Yeah.
That is very nice, Ben. We're looking forward to seeing where you go with that. That'd be awesome.
Everybody else in the chat, what are you up to in the new year? What's coming up? He says he hopes to bring some semi-modular stuff. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there we go.
Right, but keep it fun.
It's always the issue too. Like if you haven't done shows in a while, or something like that, how much do you bring? Because the more you bring is the more room for error, and the just more things messing up. That the synth not working or something like that. So I remember when I did my first one in 2020 after like 5 years, it was literally just a MIDI keyboard, a guitar, a big sky pedal, and the computer with Ableton of all things. Would you believe? Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah,
there you go.
I know.
Yeah, I'll do it for you. It's a very interesting way to go. I mean, I think that's kind of fun of it as well. Is kind of working out what your live set is going to be. I feel like as someone, maybe that's just because I'm going through it right now, but as someone who is kind of sitting down and working out how a live set is going to manifest for Curtis, that's the fun of it. I feel like once I've mastered that, knowing me and my ADHD brain, it'll be a case of, I know this, I'm bored, I'm going to go do something else.
I see everything stemming out from that. I mean, I've said it before. It's another T-shirt, right? It's all about the music, right? It starts with the music. What are you going to play? What do you want it to sound like? How's it going to differ from the original version? And then your choice of gear and how you're going to perform it kind of branches out from that. But first is what? Really, isn't it?
Yeah.
First is what?
Then
so many T-shirts we could make.
So little
now.
time.
Yeah, absolutely mental. Some limited edition T-shirts, maybe a few mugs as well. We'll have to see.
I love the coffee mugs. As you know.
Oh yeah, maybe like that. Like those word bubbles. All of them.
Yeah.
On one mug.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Well, I think that's a good bit of takeaways from 2022. Anything else you guys want to add?
Just that we'll be taking this one step further next week. We'll be talking about 2023 and what we're hoping to achieve. So if you've been around for this ride, hopefully see you next week for the next ride where we kind of talk about the future and where we're going.
And don't worry, we will bring back gear news and production next week.
This
is kind of that little awkward moment between the New Year and Christmas and all that. We just wanted to hang out and chat with all of you.
Me, I think last year was about dirtying things up a little bit after being a little bit maybe too squeaky clean in the past. I think next year's going to be more about taking live learning and folding it back into the music, and the two things becoming more one rather than being two separate entities.
Symbiosis, you might say. That's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see how it informs writing.
Yeah,
very much so. Looking forward to that. But yeah, okay. So that was our main segment for the day. Segment in inverted commas, because let's face it, this is just a hangout. We could be asked to do any work over Christmas. So yeah. But yeah, albums of 2022. So this is coming from Sunwarper on this one. And sorry, I just got distracted by what David said in the chat. Happy holidays. Don't stop what you love. Oh, that could be another T-shirt. So yeah. after I've turned down my microphone, our top albums of 2022. There's been obviously, as ever, more increasing amounts of music going in every single year, every single day. Yeah, which ones have we taken away? Sunwarper, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so mine is from the band Caven. They've been around for a long time. They were one of the starters of the whole metalcore scene in the late 90s, I guess. And then they got on a major label, did a pop record. It didn't sell super well, so they went back to the metal stuff, and then they took this long break. I should say though, the pop album they did is awesome. It's called Antenna, and it's worth checking out because they had this major label backing, but they still have gnarly distorted basses, and they have a 8-minute just almost ambient dream song in it and stuff. So I mean, it makes sense why it didn't sell to the major label degree or whatever.
Mainstream.
I've never heard drums sound as good as that album. I just love the drum sound on that album. But anyways, they took a long break. They came back. Sadly, their bassist passed away, and that kind of got them back together. They did one last album that he had. It was more like demos that they were working on before he had passed away, and they put it out, and it's really cool. And then they came back this year with a new album called Heavy Pendulum, and man, it is awesome. It's kind of a blend of all of their sounds, the space rock they did after the metal stuff, all that. It's well worth checking out if you like any of that kind of music.
Okay. I mean, metalcore is always... How are you spelling that, by the way? Because I'm having a look on Google and I'm not bringing up anything.
I think it's all one word, metalcore.
No, I know metalcore. I'm talking about the band, Caven.
Oh, Cave space in.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. And the album is Heavy Pendulum.
Heavy Pendulum. All right. Okay. I'm a big fan of metalcore. So there you go. That's the one forward. I didn't take you for much of a metalcore fan, to be fair. I don't know why.
That's your issue.
You think you know it, dude? You think you know it, dude?
Dude, you know I love metal. I was in a metal band in high school. That was what we played, metalcore.
True. That is very fair. Fair.
Yeah, he's not got a straight tuning on a single guitar.
It's all in drop C and drop A. Actually, one guitar is in either E or drop D, and it would be the one Les Paul, but that's in the house.
Well, there we go. Before we do any more, Hydro Fighter is in the lobby, so let's bring him in, shall we?
Yeah.
Maybe we can find out his album. This is the part of the show. Hydro Fighter is a patron of ours, for those who don't know. And patrons, as well as everything else that they get, are also invited to come on the show around about halfway mark, just to have a chat with us, really. Usually for the round robin in normal shows, but today we're going to be talking albums and stuff like that. So here he is, the man himself, the man of the hour, Hydro Fighter.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are
I'm
you?
going off to the computer or the Mac mic today. Beginning
Where
Mac
are you?
mic.
You're in the sauna.
Beginning Mac mic.
I don't even have a response to that.
I got nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm still processing that. How are you, man? What's up?
I'm good. I'm not in my normal environment. I'm actually at my
I wouldn't
parents'
have
cabin
guessed.
right now. So there's
All that would
be
behind you.
Nice, right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Have you been having a relaxing holiday season?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I didn't really make it out of my home until Tuesday. We were caught in a bunch of cold weather and snow and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and I have the week off this week, so I just fly by the seat of my pants. So
Was it bad down there? New York looked crazy.
well, it's winter time here. It's just stuff that we get used to. Yeah, New York, Buffalo got bombed with snow, but we got probably over a foot of snow, I think, over the past couple of weeks. But it's been cold, but now it's normalizing a little bit. It's going to be warm, like 30 degrees Fahrenheit here. So
It was
that's
82
warm for us.
on Christmas here, which is 28 degrees Celsius. I looked it up.
I would be sweating my head off if that was the case.
And the next day it rained and was like 50.
Yeah, and you guys don't get a lot of rain where you're at either, right?
No. But it went from 82 to like 50 something and just pouring rain in like the span of a day. I'm like, pick a lane. Come on, weather.
Yeah. You're messing with the static on my gear.
Yeah, seriously. My guitar was all out of tune from it. Like, come on. Yeah.
Well, it's very nice to have you here, Hydro Fighter. Thank you very much.
It's good.
It's always nice. It's always a pleasure. Before we keep going, we have Bendu's chat. Dream Tides by Field Lines Cartographer is one from 2022.
Awesome.
Keep going back to. Hell of an album, Ian Lake.
It is. It's a beautiful piece of speckly vinyl as well.
Speckly vinyl.
Double vinyl. And yeah, I've listened to it a lot this year. It's definitely a high point for me. That and his new one that's out in March is really good.
Very nice, very nice. All right, keep it going. So we had heavy pendulum Cave In, heavy pendulum by Cave In, which is Sunwarper's metalcore album of the year.
No, it's not metalcore. They were metalcore.
Oh, they were metalcore.
Yeah, no, this is something you just have to listen to know what it is. It's crazy.
Okay, all right. Hydro Fire, what was your album of the year? Do you have one?
I can't.
Got to pick an album, not an EP, right?
No,
anything counts. You could even do a single if you wanted to.
Yeah,
I think
We're not strict.
there was a couple of the Everyday Dust releases. I don't know which one particularly I like more than the other one, but that stuff has been changing how I think about music, and I love having that vibe of something new and fresh that you can feel affects you in the way that you want to write.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I love, and I wasn't really too keen on it stuff until I saw the Wera Foxma live festival thing, and when I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, his stuff is so cool, and I went and purchased some of it, and then he released a couple of EPs this year, and they're short, but they're long songs. But he's got this really dirty sound with stuff, and it's really harmonically complex, and the beats are totally different than what I would do on my stuff. And I love hearing something that's different than what you do, kind of like with Sunwarper. I mean, he got a total different. It wasn't metal stuff. It's not metal stuff.
It is the album. Yeah, it's metal. It's just not metalcore. They were metalcore.
Oh,
I was just correcting Curtis in the. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what Everyday Dust is. Maybe it's electronic core. Or
It's
maybe it
it's
have the
Mosswave.
core in there.
It's Mosswave, apparently.
Mosswave, yeah.
Did he play the show that you went to, Eon, in northern part of the country? He didn't.
No, Field Lines Cartographer did.
Okay.
That was awesome. But yeah, no Everyday Dust this year. Hopefully next year.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick a full album, I like the new Cub one that came out this year. Love the production on that album. The drums are slamming.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Ian Lake?
Boy, man, I struggle with this. I struggle with it. And I don't know. I tend to break things up between mainstream and then the music I listen to most of the time. I listen to more scene music than mainstream.
So
music.
Taylor Swift didn't make the cut this year?
Taylor, I mean, it was good, It is that good stuff, isn't it? No, the only mainstream one that got heavy rotation was Bonobos.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a hell of an album. And a different sort of thing for me.
It's
so
good.
it inspires me in ways in the way it's electronic, but not electronic. It's got a lot of organic sounds in it, almost certainly sampled. Some of them played, but yeah. And about taking a real songwriting approach to electronic music.
And he tours with a full band, though.
Yeah, you can do that now.
Yeah.
A while.
You got the money to do it. And
he toured with some friends of mine. I remember them saying that he was running about shitting himself because he'd lost his laptop. And that was his show. Not a good place to be in when you're playing live.
Yeah.
Apparently, he signed it though for that gig. Everything else, it's very hard. I've been listening to a lot of music, and I don't think I've had another year when so much has impressed me. Where there've been so many different albums that I've heard and thought, wow, that really is good, and gone back to them. I can't pick one. I could pick five, maybe.
Just say one of the five.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to say JJ Whitman's album at the moment because I'm still listening to it heavily at the moment. I fucking love it. It's brilliant. But but it's by no means not the only one. I could list easily 5, probably 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I love about it. You know, the fact I'm still hearing stuff that regularly that really makes me think differently.
Shady Ridge in the chat says Force Robots Super Moon Moonlight Part 2 was one of his faves. Yeah, that was a good one.
That's
it's a hell of a one.
That was one of the 5, yeah.
That was the one I was gonna say because it's just so effortlessly brilliant. And it's serene without being serene. It's a puzzle of an album, that one is. It's got beats, it's quite light, but there's this sort of underlying peacefulness to it that all of that seems to come from that is quite magical. It's really quite different as well. I love it.
Yeah.
He's really come full circle, not full circle, it's the alternative phrase, but he's gone on a massive journey of his own in the past year, isn't he? And come out with something completely brand new.
Is that full sphere?
Full
sphere. He took a circle and
full
made it
sphere,
three-dimensional.
Something like that. And then finally we'll land on Curtis. What about you? What is your album or EP or single of the year?
It's tough. Like, I mean, again, in a similar vein to Eon, like just picking one is really bloody difficult because the music has been so good this year. And JJ Whitman's album sprung up to me, and that's a great. I've been listening to that non-stop recently over the past couple of weeks over Christmas, just because we had a big Christmas. I was just put my headphones in and just kind of like chill out for a bit, you know.
Safe space.
Exactly. It's just I need a safe space. And at the same time, as well as like in a similar vein to Hydro Fighter, listening to music that is very different to your own. I always get a kick out of listening to music that I want to pursue, where I could go and where I could kind of get on with. So for me, Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn's Nothing New Under the Sun, which is kind of a hip-hop, a lo-fi hip-hop, it's called conscious hip-hop album, basically, where they take dusty beats, to borrow Sunwarper's phrase, very stripped back, very mellow, very kind of lo-fi, and they have poetry that runs over the top. And it's conscious hip-hop in the sense that they are very much kind of spilling their heart out on their sleeve. And I've very much been vibing with it. My Marooned that I've just finished is a big album in the sense there's a lot of many stems that has been going on. It's huge. Axis, again, something like 87 stems or something like that. But these, looking at the production, they're written on 4 tracks and written on 8 tracks, and that's kind of where I want to go moving forward. I want to slim down my production. I want to kind of make it use more or get more out of less, basically. And then I want to work with some rappers and some hip hop artists. So yeah, that's one short story long, as people would say. Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn's Nothing New Under the Sun. Hell of an album. Really, really good. Really good fun.
All right.
Yeah. So there we go. But again, we'd like to know what you guys are thinking about in the chat. We have loads to come through. Everyone's agreeing with the idea of Forest Robots. It is a hell of an album. So maybe that's the community vote for this year.
And it doesn't get worn out either. It really sticks with you.
You can just keep going. You can just keep going with it. So yeah, maybe we should have an award ceremony.
I was just thinking that next year we'll do
2023
an awards ceremony.
I like
and Mr. Hydro Fighter here did make me think quite differently about music with his releases as well. That was a big impact on me. That's gonna last into next year, I think.
Yeah, for me too, because I want to do it totally different. Well, it's like what you were talking about earlier. You burn yourself out on your original ideas or to do something. By the time you get done with it, it's like, I don't want to do that kind of concept. How do I simplify this? How do I make it easier?
Yeah.
It sounds like we all want to figure out how to simplify it.
Yeah, I do think if I did a grand concept, the next thing I'd want to do is, I remember those great old days when you just used to write a song and that was it.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yes, the simplification or the condensation of the process to make it more viable. Like you say, understanding the gear that you have inside and out, as opposed to extrapolating more with more gear. so that we can be more adept and we can be more efficient at what we do, and we can understand it can be an extension of our soul more than anything else.
I like to think of it as studio as an instrument.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
It's a cockpit, a cockpit. And
to go in spacey terms as you enjoy.
Yeah, always. I am an alien, so it makes sense. Very much so. Shady also says AB85, another fave from this year. I don't know. I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was mine too. I think I may have triggered him onto that, but the guy's go check out his YouTube channel. He's got the Moog Studio 3, and he's doing stuff with some of the smaller Roland boutique stuff too. So.
Nice. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, subscribed. We'll have a look. Yeah, we'll have a look. Yeah, always good. So yeah, I think unless there's anyone who got any final words on that, is there anything else on that one?
No, I think that's it.
I just wondered if we we're going to do the same thing with gear.
I didn't really. Did I buy any gear this year? I don't even know if
I
got gear.
You got your SP this year.
No, I got it. I think. I bought it last year. Yeah. I bought it last year. It arrived this year, so I don't know if that counts.
I was thinking more of all the gear that's come and gone this year.
Oh, that's true.
What's stuck with it? Been loads of expensive synthesizers, but the reason I asked that is because for me, a lot of it's gone by, and I'm not particularly that interested now. The only thing that's really sticking with me is the Qubit Nebula for my Eurorack case. That's the only thing I actually think I would like.
Interesting.
I think it's not out yet, but the Pro 800 is on my top.
March-ish,
top
I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but in terms of this year, Bliss's Megalith.
Yeah.
I'm still using that. I mean, if we're going software, that thing is crazy.
It's a beautiful. It keeps paying off.
That's all over the stuff I'm working on for that project. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's great for sound design and like weird normal sounds too, but it does all these really cool experimental sounds quite nicely.
Got a lot of potential. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Anything coming out of Lias at the moment? They are. We did a review on them a couple of weeks ago, and it's gone from. Now they've just become a staple. This MIDI keyboard I've got off camera, it is just built into the Megalith.
It's a Megalith keyboard.
Exactly. Yeah. Hydro Fighter, anything for you?
No, I mean I got the beat step and the key step this year, and I mean my whole setup is wrapping around those two pieces of gear, more or less. So I love how intuitive they are. Definitely not new. I mean they're not new and fancy stuff, but it's really kind of a lot more hands-on. I really love them both.
When you start working with them, you realize why they're so popular, though, don't you?
Yeah,
I really like them.
I can't tell you. I mean, with the key step and the different channels and being able to create the loops in different ways, I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it. It's like what you're talking about earlier, like tear it apart completely. And then reverse engineer it backwards to see what you can use out of it.
Yeah, completely. Delve into something deeper and deeper, and then completely understand it. Like this Launchpad for me, like I bought it. I bought it not last year. The end of last year. I haven't had it that long, and for a long time, especially in Q1, Q2 like this year, I was very much scratching the surface, using the session mode. And then use it to trigger stuff, and then using it just to kind of put stuff through. And I kind of just left it at that. Then I went into the customization. I went into the how you control devices and stuff like that, and looking at it as a step sequencer and things like that, and really understanding what it can do and the limitations, which is great because then I can go and buy more gear that it doesn't do. But also I can understand it in and out. I've spoken to both Eon Lake and Hydro Fighter about. An accompaniment to it, so it's a good way to. But again, that wouldn't have come if I didn't know exactly what I was needing, that kind of thing. So there's always credence for that kind of thing.
That'd be my advice, though, is identify your needs accurately.
Yeah. What do you need to get out of it?
Yeah. Over in the chat, David says, "I'm satisfied with the Mini Freak." Yeah, I forgot about the Mini Freak. That does look pretty cool. And existing modular still need to figure out the SQ64. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe Howard, is that Eon Lake? Is that a modular thing? Or David, let us know what that is.
I'm not sure.
My mind is a blank on it. But yeah, the Mini Freak, that does look pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't mind a bit of that. Wouldn't mind a bit of that.
If I didn't already have a digital polysynth,
that would Cobalt? Is that the one you have?
Yeah.
It looks like the SQ64 is the Korg step sequencer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. They also put out that drum machine. Yeah, David says Korg sequencer. You're right, Hydro Fighter. They put out, and Bendu says he just got the SQ64 as well. Korg was blowing them out. Yeah. How are you guys finding them? Are they cool?
They look cool.
Yeah.
That's what I originally wanted before I got the Beat Step, but
Really?
they didn't have the Korgs. So I'm just let me try the Beat Step. We'll roll with it.
I'm curious if anyone has both and whether they like one better than the other. But I guess you wouldn't need both. But I'd just be curious if you changed to one because of something. But yeah.
Looking at the Korg, it looks like the way the step sequencer set up is it's probably easier to manage multiple instruments in one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, let's see.
And it is polyphonic, isn't it? So yeah.
Oh.
We can see what
$130 too for it. Bendu says he says was a
There you go.
no-brainer. Yeah, definitely.
That's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
I got on board with that. So yeah, very much so. So that's our favorite gear, our favorite albums. We talked about our lessons from 2022. Any closing remarks? We are getting towards the hour mark. Is there anything more, gentlemen?
I think that's it.
No, but if you do an awards show next year, you're going to have to create about 30 different subgenres of.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your metal, but then you also have your metal core.
I think we just put it defaulted as like metal. And by the way, this wasn't just my favorite metal album of the year. It was my favorite album of the year. It was a hard pick, but that's how amazing I thought it was.
But then Curtis did some sort of subgenre of the hip hop thing that he was talking about. Some sort of
but just because subgenres exist do not mean you have to make every award for each. You could just kind of lump them together.
That's a good
well, then you do one award, one electronic music award.
We could be here for hours.
Tell you what, though, I know who did the best Mosswave album this year.
There you go.
And on that note, we'll say thank you very much for joining us for this episode, and for those who have been sticking with us for 43 episodes now. Thank you very much for your support and for your contributions to the chat. We love it. And we can't wait to do more. This is the last show of 2022, but we got a lot of stuff planned for 2023. As Hydro Fighter says, we're all rather ambitious, and so it's quite fun. It's gonna be fun. So we hope to see you next week. If you can't get any more of us till that point, we have a clip show from last week, which was our best of for 2022. And there will be a Binary Stars on Monday, I believe. There'll be a Binary Stars on Monday. So
to add to that, we also have a playlist if you want to check out some of the music we're listening to. It's in the description. And then if you want to hang out with us more, if you can't get enough of us, you can head over to Discord. And we do the voice chats on Mondays for a little bit. It's around 10:40 my time, which would be what, 7:40 your time?
It'd be
Curtis,
7.
UTC?
Yeah. 7:40.
I'm trying here. Give me some slack here.
7:40 CET, which is 6:40 UTC.
Okay, there we go. So on Mondays, that's usually that, and then we'll have our next patron voice hangout on. What, the 8th, January 8th, I think you said, at 11 a.m. Pacific my time. So that would be 7 and 8 in the other times.
Very much so. So awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. We shall see you in 2023.
Yeah. See you next time. Thanks for watching.